The Los Angeles Dodgers shocked the entire baseball world today. Not with a walk-off home run. Not with a dominant pitching performance. But with a front office decision so bold, so unexpected, that it left players, analysts, and fans completely speechless. What happened inside Dodger Stadium in the last 24 hours will change the trajectory of this franchise for years to come. And the name at the center of it all, Freddie Freeman, is one that nobody expected to see in a trade conversation this season. This was not a rumor. This was not speculation from an anonymous blogger. According to multiple inside sources with direct knowledge of the situation, the Dodgers have finalized a stunning $150 million blockbuster deal that sends Freddie Freeman out of Los Angeles. And the shockwaves from this decision have already begun to tear through the clubhouse in ways that nobody inside the organization was prepared for. To understand how this moment arrived, you have to go back several weeks. The Dodgers had been quietly struggling. Not in the standings, their record still looked respectable on paper. But inside the clubhouse, behind the cameras, away from the highlight reels, something had been building. A tension. A frustration. A slow-burning fire that nobody wanted to acknowledge publicly. According to multiple sources, the Dodgers front office had grown increasingly concerned about the direction of the offense. The explosiveness that defined their lineup at the start of the season had begun to fade. Home runs were fewer. Clutch hits were disappearing at the worst possible moments. And the players who were supposed to carry the offensive burden were no longer delivering with the same consistency. Freddie Freeman was at the center of those conversations. Not because he was performing poorly by the standards of most players, but because the Dodgers hold their core pieces to an entirely different standard. And according to those close to the situation, Freeman had been dealing with something far more serious than a simple slump. The physical wear of a long season had begun to take its toll in ways that the organization could no longer ignore. The meeting that changed everything happened late at night. According to multiple inside sources, a small group of Dodgers executives gathered behind closed doors for what was described as one of the most intense discussions the organization has had in recent memory. There were no casual conversations. No light jokes. The room was heavy from the moment everyone sat down. The topic on the table was simple but devastating. Could the Dodgers continue to build their championship hopes around Freddie Freeman given everything they now knew? And more importantly, had an opportunity arrived that was simply too significant to ignore? That opportunity came in the form of a $150 million offer that had been placed on the table by a competing organization. The offer was structured, serious, and came with conditions that the Dodgers found genuinely difficult to refuse. According to sources present at the discussions, the room fell completely silent when the full details of the offer were laid out. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Because everyone in that room understood what accepting it would mean. Freddie Freeman, the face of the Dodgers offense, the heart of the lineup, the man who delivered one of the most iconic moments in World Series history, would be leaving Los Angeles. But Freeman was not the only name in this blockbuster. The deal also involves another significant departure that has sent an additional wave of shock through the organization. According to multiple sources, the agreement also includes the exit of another key Dodgers contributor whose presence in the clubhouse had been considered essential just months ago. The combination of these two departures in a single transaction is precisely what makes this deal so stunning. This isn't a minor roster adjustment. This isn't the Dodgers trimming depth. This is a franchise-altering decision that signals a dramatic shift in the direction of the organization, one that manager Dave Roberts himself was reportedly briefed on only hours before the news became official. According to those present when Roberts received the information, his reaction was noticeably measured. He did not celebrate. He did not show visible relief. Instead, he sat quietly for a moment, nodded slowly, and asked a single question about the plan moving forward. That reaction alone spoke volumes about the complexity of emotion surrounding this deal inside the Dodgers organization. The moment the decision became final, the atmosphere inside the clubhouse shifted immediately. Players who had been preparing for that evening's game suddenly found themselves distracted by whispers and glances that traveled across the locker room faster than any official announcement could. According to multiple sources, the news reached several veteran players before the formal clubhouse meeting even took place. And the reactions were far from uniform. Some players reportedly understood the business logic. They had seen the Dodgers operate at the highest level long enough to know that no name, regardless of legacy or sentiment, was completely untouchable when the right opportunity emerged. In a franchise that has consistently prioritized winning above everything else, this kind of move, while painful, carried a certain brutal logic. But others were not so composed. According to sources inside the clubhouse, a small group of players expressed genuine shock and frustration. These were teammates who had built real relationships with Freeman over the course of multiple seasons. Players who had celebrated with him, struggled alongside him, and leaned on him during difficult stretches of the season. For them, this wasn't a transaction. It was the sudden removal of someone they considered a cornerstone of not just the lineup, but the entire culture of the team. The locker room that day was quieter than anyone could remember. Laughter was completely absent. The usual music that played in the background had been turned off. Players sat at their lockers staring at their phones, speaking in low voices, processing a reality that none of them had seen coming. Freeman himself, according to multiple sources, was informed of the decision in a private meeting with Dodgers management earlier in the day. Those who were aware of the meeting described the conversation as respectful but final. There was no negotiation. No last-minute appeal. The Dodgers had made their decision, and the offer on the table had already been accepted. According to those with knowledge of Freeman's reaction, he did not raise his voice. He did not make any dramatic statements in the room. But the expression on his face in the hours that followed told a story that words could not fully capture. This was a man who had given everything to this organization. Who had performed on the biggest stages when the pressure was at its absolute maximum. And he was now being told that his chapter in Los Angeles had come to an end. For Freeman, the difficulty of this moment was layered in ways that outsiders could not fully appreciate. This was not simply about leaving a team. Los Angeles had become his home. His family had built roots in the city. And the connection he had formed with Dodgers fans, particularly after the World Series, was something genuinely rare in professional sports today. The $150 million figure attached to this blockbuster deal has naturally become the focal point of public discussion. And according to multiple sources, the structure of that deal is as significant as the total amount itself. The Dodgers reportedly negotiated terms that give them considerable financial flexibility going forward, flexibility that the front office intends to use aggressively in the coming months. This is the part of the story that reveals the true strategic thinking behind a decision that on the surface appears purely emotional. The Dodgers are not dismantling. They are not retreating. According to those familiar with the organization's internal planning, this deal is the first move in a larger restructuring that the front office has been quietly mapping out for several weeks. The $150 million generated by this transaction is not simply going into a reserve account. According to multiple sources, the Dodgers already have specific targets identified. Players who fit precisely the profile of baseball that manager Dave Roberts has been trying to build, players who execute situational hitting, who understand the flow of the game at a deep level, who can contribute meaningfully without needing to be the center of attention. In that sense, this blockbuster deal is less of an ending and more of a beginning. A painful, complicated, emotionally charged beginning, but a beginning nonetheless. However, not everyone inside the organization shares that optimistic framing. According to multiple sources, there are voices within the Dodgers' inner circle who have expressed private reservations about the timing and the execution of this move. The concern is not about the strategic logic in isolation. The concern is about momentum. About chemistry. About what it means to remove a presence as significant as Freeman's in the middle of a season where the Dodgers are still in genuine contention. Championship runs are not built on spreadsheets alone. They are built on trust, on familiarity, on the invisible threads that connect a group of players into something greater than the sum of their individual talents. And when you remove a figure who sits at the very center of that web, suddenly, without warning, in the middle of a pennant race, the consequences are not always visible immediately. Sometimes they reveal themselves slowly, over weeks, in the form of missed opportunities and moments where the team falls just short of what it needed to do. That is the risk the Dodgers have chosen to accept. And according to those closest to the situation, manager Dave Roberts is fully aware of it. The next several weeks will reveal whether the front office calculated correctly, or whether this stunning $150 million blockbuster will be remembered as the move that cost the Dodgers something far more valuable than money. What is certain right now is that the Los Angeles Dodgers will look and feel fundamentally different in the days ahead. The lineup will be rebuilt. The clubhouse dynamic will shift. And every player remaining on the roster will be watching closely to understand exactly what this organization now expects from them. Because if there is one message that this deal sends with absolute clarity, it is that no one is safe. No legacy is permanent. No contribution, however extraordinary, guarantees your place in this organization when the front office decides that a different direction serves the championship goal more effectively. The Dodgers have always operated that way. Cold, calculated, relentless in their pursuit of winning. And today, with this stunning $150 million blockbuster, they have reminded the entire baseball world of exactly who they are. Freddie Freeman is gone. The Dodgers have made their move. And the rest of the season, every game, every at-bat, every decision, will now be viewed through the lens of what happened in that closed-door meeting when the Dodgers chose the future over sentiment. The baseball world is watching. And Los Angeles will never be the same. Thank you for watching. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked the entire baseball world, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of every major Dodgers move before anyone else, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. This is only the beginning.